Hey, what's going on? My name is Coach Lee Hopkins. My pronouns are he, him, his. I'm a social connections coach for the late diagnosed autistic adult, and you're listening to the Patterns of Possibility podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to helping you replace harmful patterns with new possibilities. In each episode, we explore topics that inspire you to be yourself, live your truth, and make lasting connections. In this episode, we're going to talk about masking, which is probably one of my favorite things to talk about. It's when your friends know the mask, but they don't know you. And I know that it's important to mask. I think that we need to do it, but only in certain situations. Because if you do it too much, or for the people around you that are supposed to care for you, they don't really get to know you. So we're going to talk about why it happens and how to start building more safer, authentic connections. Are you ready? Let's go. So I used to think that if people didn't know me, they couldn't hurt me. And that's why I masked so much, especially around the people that were closest to me. You know, I grew up in a household where I asked too many questions and too many obvious questions. I was way too curious, and people just didn't get me. And then I went out into the world. I found that I probably shouldn't ask questions because that's stupid. And people won't like me if I ask these questions. And lo and behold, I was right about that. And I carried that with me forever. It seems like forever. But I carried that with me. And in so much that even in my 20s, I had a medical emergency. And I had people that I called friends, people that I talked to, people that I knew. I even had a romantic partner. But I didn't tell them that I was even sick. I didn't tell them that I had a stomach ache and I had a fever and I was exhausted and so forth. And I didn't tell them that I drove myself to the hospital. And I didn't tell them that immediately they put me in for emergency surgery and my appendix was going to rupture. And they said, you need surgery. Is there anyone you want to call? No. No. I'm not calling anybody. I'm not telling anybody about this. The idea of being vulnerable and needing help was foreign to me. It was scary. I didn't think that I would get support. I thought that people would give me a harder time for having a problem in the first place, even though these people were ones that were supposed to care for me and I was supposed to care for them. Even my romantic partner, they didn't find out until I told them I needed to arrive from the hospital. And I was in my 20s, very youthful. And so even that night, I think we went out to dance, even like after surgery. So masking pretty hard. Yeah, masking pretty hard. I don't want anybody to know anything about me. I didn't want anyone to know anything about me. And that, if you're feeling like that, if you're feeling like you don't want to open up, and maybe it's not that extreme, but maybe you don't want to share your hobbies and your interests with other people because you're afraid that they're going to laugh at you or they're just not going to understand. I mean, it totally makes sense. Not everybody can know you. Not everybody gets to know you. But the people that you think should be closest to you, the people that need to know you, won't know you if you mask. Right? So what is masking anyway? Well, masking really is a survival strategy when I think about it from this context. Survival strategy, to think about it this way, because we are primal creatures, we're humans who want to be and need to be social. When nobody does anything alone, you can't accomplish anything without the help of another person. You just can't. So back in the day, like back in the olden days, I don't even know the olden days, but the days of real community tribe survival. Like if you left the tribe, you were basically doomed to be eaten by some wild animal, right? I'm talking about those days. It's a primal thing to stay connected to people for safety. And that has not left us. That feeling, that survival instinct has been passed down to us as we speak today. As I speak to you today, it's been passed down to us. And so thinking about it, like, if you are constantly rejected for being yourself, if people say, I don't want to be around you, I don't want to talk to you, get away from me, it triggers that feeling of being alone, abandoned, and even like you're going to die. And you are trying really, really hard to avoid that. So you put that mask on, and maybe you don't ask them any questions because they're dumb anyway. Maybe you laugh at the jokes even though they're stupid and you don't even understand them. You do what you can so that people won't push you away, so you don't feel like you're abandoned and doomed to be eaten by wild animals. You won't be doomed to be eaten by wild animals or starve these days because you have DoorDash. But you know what I mean? Right? So it's a survival instinct. It's survival. And how it shows up is, a lot of people pleasing, staying quiet, avoiding expressing your needs. All of those things are what masking is. Those are actions and behaviors you do as masking. And when you do this, even though you are physically able to be around people, because you can mask pretty well, people kind of like you, or at least they tolerate you and they invite you to things, but you don't feel like they really know you. You don't feel like they really know you. Because like in my story, I didn't feel like these people needed to know me, needed to know that I was sick, would help me if I was sick. But that causes a lot of emotional loneliness when you mask. If I had just been more open, and I believe me, looking back, there's no possible way that I would have felt comfortable sharing anything about me with those people. Even though I called them my friends, I was so terrified. But it causes loneliness because you start thinking and feeling like, even though you're surrounded by people who say they care about you, people you hang out with, maybe you play video games with, maybe you go for a walk, maybe you go to the movies with them, maybe you see them every once in a while, maybe you chat with them online, but they don't know you. That they can't support you in these times of trouble, times of strife. They don't even know the happy things that go on in your life because you don't even share with them, because you think, oh, well, they don't care. They're not really going to celebrate. It's not that big of a deal. So you feel lonely in a crowd. And I'm going to tell you that people can only care for you if you show yourself. You're creating a relationship with them. Well, you're helping them create this relationship with a mask. Not really you, just a person that you pretend to be. Just a person that you put on the front. And I'll tell you, it's exhausting doing that. It's exhausting masking. You know it. If you've done it, you know it. Sitting there listening to people, not understanding, wanting to jump in, trying to follow along, overthinking about what they may have said, what you may have said. Really completely disconnected. Trying to show that you're not confused. Trying to show that you're interested. It's exhausting. If you're doing this, you have friends, quote, I love you to see my hands as I do my air quotes. You have friends, but you still feel alone. That's awful. It's no different of a feeling than being physically alone. It's not enough to be in the presence of people and just be there. So why do we do this? Well, we talked about that. How do we fix it? Well, we have to start learning to trust people. We really do. We have to start learning to trust that they can handle the little day-to-day things about our life that bring us joy. They are interested in knowing us as a person, and they can handle and support us in times of strife. They can. Especially, and I'm talking about these people that are supposed to be close to you. These people that you're calling your friends, they're supposed to be able to do this for you. Otherwise, they're associates. They're strangers. They're acquaintances. By my definition of friends, they are not your friends. Because your friends, you're going to spend a lot more time with them and more energy with them. Imagine, it's so draining to wear a mask while you're doing your day job, your 9 to 5. You have to mask up to get through the day. And then you want to hang out with someone and you got to put that mask back on. And you're masking 24/7 and you don't feel like anyone ever knows you. Those people that you have to mask around aren't really your friends, right? So you have to face the rejection that happened in your past. Because mine started with, growing up in a place where nobody really cared about what I had to say or was interested or thought it was just common sense. And I was asking dumb questions. Dumb questions. Because I just didn't get the social cues or the nuances about it. And so I just learned to shut up. And I continue to keep doing that over and over and over again. So you have to learn to face that rejection. Is when you go out into the world, you go out into the wild, people just aren't going to get you. And if you take it as if it's such a severe rejection, because a lot of us out there have rejection sensitivity dysphoria, you take it as such a severe rejection as if they've just kicked you out of the tribe and you're going to be eaten by wild animals, you will never get to really meet new people. You'll always be afraid of feeling that tinge of rejection that stays with you. So you have to go and try. You have to go and open up, especially if you've got friends now, especially to those people. And I know it's scary because you're probably going to open up and discover that, oh my God, they don't really know you or like the thing. And you're afraid of the possibility that they will let go or that you can't make it work. And I'm telling you, that is a blessing. It's a blessing. Would you rather just mask for the rest of your life with this person just for the sake of being in the presence of another person who doesn't even know you? Or would you like the opportunity to release that relationship and go find people who will really celebrate you, encourage you to take off that mask so you can have some relief, so you can be your authentic self, so you can really feel loved, supported, appreciated, and accepted? I don't know about you, but the second one sounds pretty enticing. Sounds pretty enticing. So how do you know that you're in a relationship or a friendship with people who you're masking with? I'm going to give you a couple signs. One, you always default to what they want. You're the go with the flow person. Two, you avoid sharing your struggles. You don't let anybody know that you're suffering. You don't let anybody know that you have a hard time with anything. 3, you feel more tired after spending time with them. You like them, sorta, but man, it's exhausting when you have to mask, when you don't get their jokes, or when they kind of make fun of you. Ugh. Number 4, you replay conversations obsessively. So you overthink. You just overthink all the time. What did they say? What did I say? How did they respond? Are they mad at me? I don't understand what they said. Did they really mean this or mean that? Should I ask? Or no, I probably shouldn't ask. But then as you spiral into your own mind, you kind of leave them mentally, emotionally. You move away from them and you get inside of your head. It's exhausting. And the last one, well, you feel like you're acting instead of relating. You're putting on the show to pretend that you like the thing that you don't really like or know anything about. You're going to see this garage band, this grunge band, this indie band in a bar, and you don't even care to drink. You don't like rock music. You'd rather just be reading a book or putting together a puzzle or playing some video games. It's not your vibe. So you act like you enjoy. You act like you understand their day-to-day life too. I think this can happen especially as adults here with kids. If you don't have kids and they want to talk all about their kids and what's going on, even if they have a partner or a relationship and they want to talk about all of that that's happening, and you are single and you have been for a very long time, it's kind of hard to relate. And if that's all they want to talk about, where are you in the conversation? Do you talk about your single life and how you like to sit at home and watch Netflix? That's what we single people do because the dating scene is wild. But if you feel like you're acting, you're not relating to them. So if you feel like these are happening, it's high chance that you're masking around these friends. Now, what you can do instead is start taking some action. Low stakes honesty. Just Be honest about something that's happening in your life. Stop hiding how you feel about things. So you can say what you did today, what you ate for breakfast. That's one of my things. I talk about what I eat because it's a habit. Um, and it shows, part of my day. It's the little things. But talk about low stakes things that aren't going to really be too intense or too deep, and see how they respond. You When you do this, you're going to test for safety. You're going to check and see how they respond. If they respond in a way that feels inviting to you, then great. You've gotten much closer. If they are dismissive, check that rejection sensitive dysphoria. Check it. Don't run away just yet. Try again. But you feel your feelings. But definitely give it another opportunity, because everybody has a bad day. Maybe they just didn't get it. Maybe they weren't up for understanding it. Maybe they missed it. But you give it another chance. You've probably been friends for years. Just try again. I would say also that when you do this, you want to celebrate these small moments of when you unmask. Like, yay, I tried to be vulnerable. And I showed my authentic self instead of hiding. It's scary to do that, so you want to celebrate that win. You want to celebrate that success of you trying. So I have a question for you. Are you being loved for who you are, or for who you've trained others to see? Now let's do the listener letters. If you have a question about your family, friends, business, coworkers, anything that goes on with your relationships, you can write me at patternsofpossibility@gmail.com. High masking and loss of self. I recently started making sense of unmasking in small things. I had read books and articles on the topic, and there's nothing I wanted more than to be able to unmask. But it simply made no sense to me, as I didn't feel anything solid underneath the mask. Kind of like a clay model you're told has a metal structure within, but when I took away the surface clay, I just found more and more clay. And then I left a giant smudge where I searched. So, yesterday I was thinking, and something about this experience clicked. I think some of the murkiness about what unmasking is comes from my high masking. Often when I feel an impulse, I don't know if it comes from real wants or needs, or if it comes from overcompensating. So I ask myself if I have to do it. The answer is that I could act on it just as much as I could let it pass. And this makes everything feel so undetermined, and overall feels like having no solid ground to stand on, and start walking towards something more me. Recently, though, I think exhaustion and conservation of energy have been good indicators for me. Not inactivity or suspension, because these just feel like a lot of energy, needs, wants, running in circles inside and tearing my guts out, but rather a feeling of inaction, however small, feels like I'm leaking out of it, or what I give as feedback, however small, that allows me to keep on moving. I'm not sure what they mean by this, but they're saying, that's it right there, but they're saying something that is very common when you start unmasking, because you've performed so much and it feels like that the mask is just fused to your face. Who am I? What do I want? Because I've been so busy looking at people outside of me and trying to do what they wanted. I somehow convinced myself that I wanted what they wanted, but I'm not sure if I want what they want, because no one's ever asked me what I want, right? And then you go around in a loop and you try and figure out if it is what you really want. And there's usually no guidance on how to be yourself, because everyone says it, just be yourself. Well, I don't even know what myself is, or what do I want, because we've been masking for so long. And this is a thing that I face too. I remember after a breakup, I really just didn't have any sense of self. After breakup, I went to the grocery store. This was months after the breakup, and I needed to go shopping, and I wanted to get some bread. And usually my partner would just pick out the food and he'd say, get this, get this, get that. Like, I couldn't feed myself or anything. But I was like, yeah, okay, I got it. I'll do that. No. And I just doop, and I went and did what they wanted me to do. And I remember going to the grocery store in the bread aisle, and I was overwhelmed with the options and the choices. There was just so much. There were different brands. There were different kinds of bread. They were sliced differently. There was wheat bread. There was white bread. There was rye bread. I was like, what do I even like? What do I even want? And I was completely overwhelmed by that experience. And I started to realize that I needed something else too. Like, I needed to figure out what I wanted. And what I come up with is to try a bunch of things to see if it brings me joy. Basically, that's the gist of it, is to try things. Like, don't get stuck in inaction. Don't get stuck inside of your head analyzing which bread. You've got to make a choice and see if you like it or not. And see if you like it or not. That's the way you get better and faster at learning who you are and what you want. And so if you're unmasking, it's time for you to figure out, and I know it's a slow start. It's a slow start because there's so many options, but it's really time to start figuring out what you want and what you like. And the only way to do that is to try things. This is to really just go out there and try. And if it feels good to you and it resonates with you, then correct. That's good. You're likely to do more of it. If it doesn't, then you do less of it, or you don't do it again. And you get clearer. So just imagine going down that bread aisle, and I pick up the Sara Lee bread, the Sara Lee honey wheat, and I'm like, yeah, this is it. I go home and it tastes like butt. Ugh, I don't like it. I don't want it. I won't buy it again. The next time I go on the bread aisle, maybe there are hundreds of choices, but I know for sure I'm not getting that one. And it just gets easier and easier as you go through the process. You're likely to find something that you really like before you hit all 100, right? So on your journey to unmasking, you're going to run into that loss of self, or recognizing that you may not know what you really want. Go try new things. Go discover yourself. You got this. If you're still listening, I'm glad that you made it this far. I've got something new for you, and I think you're going to love it. If you've ever struggled to say no, or felt drained by certain relationships, or wondered if you're being your authentic self with others, I created a quick boundaries quiz just for you. It'll help you uncover your boundary style and masking style to show you exactly where you might be holding back or giving too much. Head over to patternsofpossibility.com to take the quiz today, because it's free, it's new, and it might just shift how you show up in every relationship. Again, check out patternsofpossibility.com or the link in the show notes. And finally, I appreciate you being a listener. If you got something of value out of this podcast, please share it with other people and leave a 5-star review on your favorite listening app. We'll see you next time. Take care.